So yeah, we this is the old.
Yeah, this is the one I wanted to see. Yeah. Right, I got a fellow I cut for. He had a 525. I drove it one year.
Yeah.
And it's got a few little bits and pieces that make it a little bit undesirable, if you know what I mean. It was left in an open shed.
Yeah.
It'd be a good enough combine, but the gear cables are stuck.
Right.
It needs all kinds of stuff. New traction belts.
Yeah.
The drum's seized. I managed to free the concave off. It's got rot underneath that needs welding up. It's got rot in the tank where this tube goes through here.
Right. Yeah.
It's just a little bit. It's a little bit more than what you'd want to do.
Yeah.
And now there's something wrong with the gearbox. The selector fork in the gearbox won't reach both gears.
Oh right.
So you've either got to choose between reverse or forward.
Yeah. This one, the clutch is seized on it.
Oh, is it?
But to get the clutch pack off, for 400 you can do it by taking the wheel off and move it.
Yeah.
But on these you can't because your final drive hub sits over the clutch pack.
Right.
On them.
Yeah.
So you can't do it as such. But this one has got a bit of history to this combine.
Yeah.
This one was brought new in 1969 by a bloke called Francis Pope. The only thing he ever brought new, and it was at Kettering, Fort Mouser. And I got to hear about it because I'm chairman of Massey Ferguson Heritage. He'd had it so from you, never spent a night outside as such and put it in the barn. He did spend one night outside, and he decided to put it in at 2 o'clock in the morning coming back from the pub. And it didn't go too well because I've got the photos in the house. The back trend on it, all this when I had it, was all smashed and pushed up.
Oh, okay.
And flopping around, split down the seams and that. And basically what happened was he pushed it and drove it in the shed, and he caught the diesel tank, and the diesel tank went off and all the diesel down the yard and everything.
Yeah, right.
But he was a lecturer at Malton College.
Yeah.
So anybody who went to Malton College from 69 onwards might have seen this combine, because when theirs broke down or they was running behind, you took this one in to play catch up.
Right.
So this was.
Just a little bit. Well, they're a little bit. They like to rust these, don't they?
Do, because it's this linking seam. That's the trouble.
Yeah.
This is this ain't the original bat.
No, because it's got the later logo on it. Yeah.
This came off a 515.
Yeah.
And it came from down at Spalding.
Right.
Breakers down there.
Oh, are you talking about Pantry? Dave Pantry, is that the one?
No, it wasn't Dave Pantry.
Oh, was it not that one?
No, it was someone else.
Spalding.
John Levers.
Oh, there's another geezer that used to be called Miles Hardy. I hear about him as well.
Could be, yeah.
But his stuff's gone now. Yeah.
Because he had a rotor flow bolted on it.
Yes. Yeah, and there was that's obviously the hole where it goes in, wasn't it? That's where the rotor flow goes back onto the walkers or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not 100% how it works. So I'm not that familiar with it. I think, like I say, the 525s, I mean, it's funny because some people, you tend to see that some people really, when you see comments on the internet and stuff, some people really rate them and then other people hate them.
Yeah.
And I think it obviously just depends. I know obviously not that much about Masseys, but having worked with combines, I've seen combines come off the same production line, and one combine's always a trouble, and then the next one's always all right.
Yeah.
And you'll never see it again. And I don't think it's always driver error.
No.
I think that sometimes you get faulty machines.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. And it just depends on your personal experience. But I think,
like the Lely Victory.
Yes. Yeah, with the folding header.
They had a lot of problems with them.
Yeah,
when they first developed.
Yeah.
And one of the problems was actually down to the bloke on the lathe.
Right. Yeah.
Les Arnold, who used to transport for me, he worked for Lely.
Yeah.
And he worked on the combines originally when he first went there.
Yeah.
And he had an episode where he was going out and fitting wobble boxes. and they was either wearing out the pulleys or you couldn't get the pulleys off of them, and he wondered what the heck was going on. Anyway, he had a look, and then one day he couldn't get the pulley on one, and the woodruff key, and he thought, that's blinking, couldn't get the wood. So he went back to the factory, and the old boy who was on the lathe said he couldn't believe it. The old boy who was on the milling machine, he said, how do you do these shafts, put these keyways in? He said, well, he said, I get this nut here, and he got an old-fashioned square nut. He said, and I'll use that as my guide. He said, and if it fits in there, it's okay. Well, being an old-fashioned square nut, the blacksmith made
it wasn't square, yeah.
So the reason
so
why
different.
The keys wasn't you couldn't get a woodruff key in one, he could in another or whatever.
Good enough reason, I suppose, isn't it?
That was the first few combines. That was the
downfall
of them. Because
it's mad, isn't it? I heard about New Holland back in the day. This was the story I heard. They kept having problems with turbos, and they had to go and see where it was coming from. And they were watching what was going on, trying to work out what the problem was with these turbos when the tractors were moving. And they worked out that this geezer was getting a handful of nuts and putting them up somewhere, and the turbos were still open, and a couple of nuts get into the turbo. No one would see it. They put the cover on it, and put the tractor together, start the tractor up, drive it out of the workshop. Of course, it sucks the nuts through. Bang! And they were like, shit, the turbo's gone. And it happened to every couple of tractors, every so often. And and they realised that's what it was. Just stupid stuff, isn't it? Because obviously you've got the people in the factory, and they're just going for numbers, aren't they? They're not really bothered about the tractor. Not usually, they're just doing a job, aren't they? And they just want to go home at the end of the day.
We had one at work the other year with we done a, what do we do? Oh, bloke wanted a new air filter on his tractor and whatever, Dave Wilson low bond, and whatever, and it was on a Ford 7610, and that's had a turbo fitted to it, and we put it all back together. In the meantime, as he's having its radiator done, in the meantime, once having its radiator done and everything, the Massey decided to go up and make a nest in the pipe.
Oh, right,
fitted everything back on,
and the pipe
stuck the mouse on the turbo.
Yeah.
So of course we explained to anyone on insurance, and they was trying to work out how you get a mouse in the turbo.
Yeah.
Work it out. We have to have a lesson.
Yeah. I heard of somebody, somebody who does. I've got on quite well with him. A bloke called Peter Booth. He said he used to work for Turney's when they were old New Holland 103 M103s and that with a slope back on them, and they were doing a job, and it wouldn't go in gear, it wouldn't move, and the boss said, you've left a hammer in it. He goes, no, the hammer's here. And they looked on the drum, and a cat had fallen asleep on the in the combine. When they started the combine up, the cat went up onto the drum and went and stopped it, and to get it out they put the back of the, I shouldn't really be saying this, I suppose, but a long time ago, I think, before I was born, they put the back of the combine over the neighbour's fence where the cat had come from and spat the cat back into the garden. The cat hanging out the back. Anyway, I'm just about to run out of time. Right. Well, with this phone. So...